Hello, today we are going to talk about a very important and controversial issue, the Israel-Palestine conflict. As you may know, this conflict has been going on for decades, but it recently reached a new level of violence and destruction when Hamas, the Palestinian militant group that controls Gaza, launched a massive rocket attack on southern Israel, killing hundreds of civilians and triggering a fierce response from Israeli military, which bombed Gaza with thousands of airstrikes, killing thousands of Palestinians and displacing many more. This war has sparked global outrage and sympathy, but also divided opinions and allegiances. And one of the regions where this division is most evident is Africa. Why is that? Why is Africa divided on supporting Palestine or Israel? That's what we are going to explore in this video. We look at the historical, political, economic, and religious factors that shape Africa's stance on this conflict. We'll also examine the implications and consequences of this division for Africa's role in the world. So stay tuned and let's get started. Before I delve into the topic, I want to summarize some of the highlights, and I'm going to divide the countries in Africa as two that is pro-Palestinian and the other one pro-Israel. So for the pro-Palestinian, we have South Africa. It blamed the escalation on Israel's illegal occupation and desecration of Al-Aqsa Mosque and other sacred sites. It also said that the conflict would not stop until the occupation of Palestinian land ends or comes to an end. The other pro-Palestinian country is Algeria. It declared full solidarity with Palestine and accused Israel of violating international humanitarian law. And another one, the third one, is Egypt. It signed a peace treaty with Israel in 1979, but it also maintained its support for Palestinian rights and interests. It opened its border with Gaza, which is the region that is being bombed, to allow humanitarian aid and medical supplies into Gaza. And they keep doing that all the time. And no matter what the Egyptian government says, almost every Egyptian citizen is in solidarity with Palestine. Then let's look at the other group of pro-Israel. So Kenya is the first country. It joined the rest of the world in solidarity with Israel and unequivocally condemned terrorism and attacks on innocent civilians in Israel. It also called for the international community to take action against the perpetrators and enablers of terrorism. Now, this was part of a tweet on the president of Kenya's Twitter or X account, and in there, as you read the tweet, you notice there's somehow he's blaming the Palestinian people. So that's why it got that kind of attention. And then we have Zambia. Zambia, it has a strong trade and cooperation ties with Israel, and it has also supported Israel's bid to join the African Union as an observer member. So Zambia went to their Twitter account and condemned Hamas and to an extent Palestinian militants, and basically showed support for Israel. And then we have Ghana. It issued a statement in support of Israel, just like Kenya, saying that it stands with Israel in its fight against terrorism and violence. It also praised Israel's effort to restore peace and security in Middle East. I mean, you understand, that is more like a sarcastic way of saying it. Israel is the cause of insecurity in that region. So I don't know why Ghana was praising Israel for trying to restore peace in a region that they are the ones who brought insecurity. Anyway, those are the highlights. So these are the examples of how Africa is divided on supporting Palestine or Israel. There are many other factors that influence each country's stance, such as historical, political, economic, and religious aspects. And I'm going now to do a deep analysis of why Africa is divided. So, Africa is divided on the Israel-Palestine conflict. We need to go back in history and see how Africa's relationship with both sides has evolved over time. In general, Africa has historically been more sympathetic and supportive of Palestine than Israel. This is because many African countries share a common experience of colonialism, oppression, racism, and liberation struggles with the Palestinian people. Many African leaders such as Nelson Mandela of South Africa, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, Julius Nyerere of Tanzania, and Gamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt saw Palestine as a fellow victim of imperialism and apartheid and expressed solidarity with their cause. In fact, Mandela famously said that we know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians. Moreover, many African countries are members of the Non-Aligned Movement, also known as NAM, which was founded in 1961 to oppose colonialism and align with neither the United States nor the Soviet Union during the Cold War. The NAM has consistently supported Palestine's right to self-determination and condemned Israel's occupation and aggression. In addition, many African countries have strong ties with the Arab world, especially with Egypt, which has been a key mediator and ally for Palestine. Egypt was the first Arab country to sign a peace treaty with Israel in 1979, but it also maintained its support for Palestinian rights and interests. These historical facts have shaped Africa's support for Palestine over the years, but they have also been challenged by Israel's growing influence and outreach in Africa. Before I conclude this video, you have to understand that some other African countries have had trade ties with Israel in the recent times. For example, Morocco has normalized their ties with Israel because of commerce. Then you have Kenya. You have countries like Zambia that are increasing their trade with Israel as they buy and import Israeli-made technology in agriculture and other sectors. For example, security in Kenya. So they have to side with Israel because of that kind of relationship. But in summary, what does this division mean for Africa's role in the world? What are the challenges and dilemmas that Africa faces as a result of its split stance on the conflict? Well, there are many factors that influence each country's position, and they are not always easy to reconcile. For example, some countries, as I just said, may support Palestine out of a sense of historical and moral solidarity, but they may also depend on Israel for trade, investment, technology, or security. Some countries may align with Israel out of strategic or pragmatic reasons, but they may also face criticism or backlash from their own people or other African states, for example, Egypt. Some countries may try to balance their interests and values, but they may also struggle to find a consistent and coherent voice on the issue. These factors create challenges and dilemmas for Africa's role in the world.